Hello, my name is Jesse, and I'm here to present my project, Fantasy League Management System. So, the motivation behind this project is that as a passionate football fan, I just wanted to create something that I've been playing and I enjoy playing, Fantasy Premier League. But the original is feature heavy. So, my goal is to create a simplified version of this app and also add a few things that I think would make the app better if it was present in the original. So the key difference is simplicity. Uh, Managers really have to think about the starting lineup that they want to select because what I thought of was in real life, managers have a specific lineup and they buy players according to that lineup. So it's the same thing for this. The lineup you start with or the formation you start with is the formation you're going to keep until the end of the season. And every manager is allowed to select only a starting 11 because you cannot use the bench during in game. So I thought it was just too many things to track, so we dropped bench. But after each game week, every manager is allowed to make a maximum of three transfers. So I'll go into this tool in my advanced feature later. And in this league style, the way I set this up is that the moment you sign up, you join a default league. So everyone gets to play everyone, and it is the scoring is the same as what is being done currently. If you win a matchup, you get 3 points. If you draw a matchup, you get one, and if you lose, no point for you. So in the advanced features, I implemented three advanced features. The first one is the team chemistry, which is really important. As a team sport, we really need to, get the players to work together for a long period of time for them to start producing results, right? So there's a whole point of this feature. It kind of gives managers or it gives it sets a constraint on managers to let them know that you don't always have to be chasing the points, even though that is the whole point of FPL, chase the points, bring in more players, and win the league. But this one is set up is in a way that you don't always have to chase the points. You have to really think about the people you are bringing into the team, because if you have six or more players stay together for 5 consecutive games, you get a bonus point of 15 at the end of that, stretch. Then the second one is a person-based match simulation and team selection as well. So what this really does is since it's not really connected to my app is not connected to real life, I had to create a simulation backend that would, you know, consider the strength of the team, consider if it's a home game, if it's an away game, and kind of simulate actual scores in the game. And I also use this to select uh, players who field who will be playing a game. So depending on your price, you have a probability of starting a game. So sometimes, especially at the start of the simulation, you realize that some expensive players are being dropped. But as time goes on, the simulation gets better and the distribution start picking obvious stars that should be starting the game. And the third feature is the transfer recommendation system. So here, um, what I did here is just set up a backend that during your transfer window, and the transfer window opens after each game week, and every manager is allowed to select to sell three players and bring in three players. So during the transfer window, you can actually get AI recommendation assistance. So what it takes into consideration is the form of the player. The FDR is the fixture difficulty rating. So the fixture ahead of the player that is the 3 game span ahead of the player that you want to bring in. and your player, it is calculated, and you can see the difficulty score, and it's also color coded, so you can see if you should drop a player, you should sell a player, and the value and the total point that the player has scored so far. So with this being said, let's go into the project. So first I have, so this is my code that pulls the original FPL data, live FPL data from FPL, and I've already loaded this data to my SQL, my Superbase backend. So we are going to take a look at the table. So I don't know how this happened, but this is messed up. But this shows a relationship between my tables. Oh, let's see, this is, oh, good. So yeah, this is the relationship between my tables. So let's get into the table itself. So I've simplified this because I had a bug that I was trying to solve. So during the midterm report, I just created a SQL code to, build, like add points. Whenever I create a team, I added like 2 points per player. So there was a 22 point that was always being added when I created a team, and I couldn't figure out there was a code I wrote to show my midterm report that something was working. So this really created a huge headache for me, and I really had to go back and rewrite the database into a simplified version that has everything that I would use, and all the extras like stadium that the games were being played. I took those stuff out, but I think this is what was providing the issues. But that is out, and so let's see the app. So in the backend, what you have to run is Python main.py. Sometimes, sometimes if the code is already running, you would have to kill any process that is using this address, then you rerun it again. And in the front end is npm run dev. So the application will be hosted here. So this is my application, Fantasy League, a simplified version. This is the original Premier League table as of game week 14, which was played yesterday. So you can actually see the scores of game week 14 here. And this is the original scores. And that is because I'm using the data directly from FPL, right? So now there's no team. We can see from game week 1, we can see the results from game week 1. So there is no team, so let's sign up. So I did not add any authentication user-based stuff here because I wanted to simplify everything. So for any user, if you sign up, your sign up information is saved in your cache or your local storage. So that is it. Whenever you want to come back to your application, you just need to put in your credentials, and it's probably going to load, but you just need to put in your credentials and that should be fine. Admin, let's go. So this is it. I'm signed in as admin. This is the league. Um, So now let's create a team. So every manager has 100 million to pick 11 players. This is enough to pick 11 players. That is why there is uh no bench, and your formation is strictly exactly what you start with. So every manager really needs to think about what they're doing here. And you cannot select more than two players per club. You also have to follow this constraint. You have to select at least exactly one keeper, at least three defenders, at least two midfielders, and at least one forward. So demo 11 will be my team. And since the previous game weeks have already been played, you cannot select a game week that has not been played. You are here to pick a team, so we can pick our captain. Let's just randomly pick all the best players I know. Keeper, go to Raya. So if I just try to pick Timber, it won't allow me because I already have Saka and I already have Raya. So let's go to, oh, another good player. Sunderland for Daniel Ballard. Go to Crystal Palace for Mitchell. Where the Lackland? Um, still defenders. So we need at least three defenders, and we have to finish getting a team. Good. Lewis James. Three defenders. One more player. Let's pick a forward. Gerald Bourne. Yes. So we can pick our captain, Haaland, Saka as our vice, create fantasy team. So this is the lineup of the fantasy team. And 0 point. Previously, you would see there was an error and you'd always see 22 point being assigned, but finally, I've been able to deal with this issue. So before we come to our transfer window, let's simulate 5 games to see how the chemistry point works. So game 15. So the puzzle really did not select these players. So it means these players did not play the game. And these are the point I'm getting. And these are actually very close to what how FPL would score the point. Because there could be a game week where all your players will get like 2 points and that could really be frustrating. So let's go to game week 16. 32. More players are being fielded. Except Ballard and Raya. Game week 17. Good. 30 points. This one. The table has been updated to game week 17. The points have been added and shown nicely. And before we see what the chemistry bonus point is doing, see currently the table is not populated. So game week 18. 67, that's good. So finally, everyone gets fielded, and we can see that everyone is producing some results. United 6-1, likely. Arsenal, Chelsea, yeah, good stuff. Liverpool lose again. Table has been updated to game week 18. And I believe there's a game week we get the bonus perfect. Bonus point. Bonus point. So this is it. Now six or more players have stayed together through 5 game weeks. So chemistry bonus for the end, and this it will be resetted after this game week. Previously, I had an issue where even in the next game week, it was still adding 15 points because from game week 16 to 20, still six players have stayed together. So the way the game week is calculated is if you build a team, it's assumed they've been there 1 game already. So you have 4 games ahead of you when you're starting. So this has been added. Now let's see how the transfer works. So before we transfer any player out, we can ask our AI to assist us to see which players are performing well through 5 game weeks. Bertrand Traore from Sunderland, 41 point total already, and who has not been playing well, most of our defenders. But we have a midfielder here that has not been playing well, so we are going to take out Morgan Gibbs for Bertrand Traore. Gibbs. Can search the actual team. And for the defenders, we can also refresh and see exactly what we want to pick. So we want to take out um these 2 players. So let's bring in Emerson because has simple games ahead of him, and I'll bring in Brentford's defender here. So Emerson first, West Ham United. Defender has to go down the road. So you see, whenever you click on a player, you only get to select a replacement for that position. So every manager is restricted to the formation that is started. West Ham United. Emerson. Let's bring in Connor Roberts. So Munoz for Connor Roberts. Then now we've made 3 substitutions. We've exhausted our transfer marks. Now we can go back to our dashboard and see it's been updated. So they have been updated. This is Dos Santos, this is Troy, and this is Roberts. Now to simulate the 20th game week. Simulation complete, 60 points. Terrible. But this is it. This is it. So that is my project, and difficulties that I faced was again the phantom point that was showing up because of a hard code that I did in the midweek, and especially this, the data set that I got from FPL had GKP as all caps GK, lower caps GK, sometimes GK and a space. That was what this problem was also about, and sometimes GKP. So it was really problematic trying to figure out what I was trying to pull. but I was able to fix that as well. And the experience linked, I built more understanding on programming. And although I'm not really interested in software development, it is nice to know the processes that software developers go through and the stress they go through just to bring a good product out. So you get to really appreciate what you're using when you've seen how stressful it is to start from front end, back end, and handle everything. And the future extensions, especially the AI. So I try to get historical data from historical data. So I would use it to build a small machine learning application that would recommend players based on previous history, not just current 5 game weeks. I mean the previous 5 game weeks, but I couldn't really get it to work, so I dropped that idea. So that would be set as a future extension and also something to work for the mobile app and creating private leagues. Currently, everyone that joins is pushed to a default league. So there should be another page that would set up private leagues and bench players. But with this, with an auto substitution logic, whereby say there is a game that has started and after two, maybe the first half, someone gets injured and the player gets substituted. So this auto substitution would automatically sub your bench player with the injured player so you don't you get to make the points of the bench player as well. So that is also very different from what is happening in FPL currently. And a chip system. So I added wildcard. I added wildcard. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Did it does it differently? I added wildcard. The problem with the wildcard was because I had a transfer limit, it wasn't able to bypass the transfer limit. So after every three transfers, I couldn't make any other selection, and that was also a headache to figure out. So I just dropped that feature entirely. But so far, I think my application is still good enough. It is simplified, like what I started with, the goal I started with. It has the chemistry that is different from what is going on. It has the AI system that is also different from what is going on. And I had to implement a simulation of games, which because I can't connect to the original games, that is what I needed to do. So that is also different from what is going on. So thank you for listening to my project. And the code will be placed in my GitHub, but I couldn't figure out a way to put it in the project because of since I'm using LaTeX to write the reports because of this percentage signs. So I will put it in the comment section. So this is my project and I'll put it in the comments of my submission section for you to get access to this project.